YouTube. Cole, what's going on? We're live on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? I was just telling TikTok I've been tracking my workouts, trying to get 5 sweats in a week. Like equates to whatever that math is at the end of the year. Anyways, we got it in yesterday, so I just filled it in. I go, for those that have seen it, A is Allegiant. That's a strength training gym I go to. SC is Soul Cycle. Shout out Soul Cycle. I like busted up my Achilles, so I haven't been running as much, but we're making moves. We're making moves. Aid, what's going on? Appreciate the likes. Big Fudge, love your organization with the game preps and this workout tracking. You know it. It's actually funny that you say that. I literally I had a coffee this morning with the homie Yogi Roth. You Pac-12 folks will love that. We met for like an hour talking. I mean, he's one of the only people in my life. Also, he's got great content. Go check out his stuff. But he's one of the only people in my life that there's not that many color commentators that I can like truly talk shop with that I'm close with like that. Like honestly, he's the closest guy. I'm closer to him than any other color commentator. So like he brought out his board. He's got a new board system. But it's funny that you say that, Aiden. I think it was because I was going through my boards that I had from last football season. We were game planning like, hey, I like this. I don't like this. I like putting the defensive line here, and here's why. I'm the opposite. He puts it on the top of his board. I put him right next to the offensive line because that's how my brain works. He spends a lot more time with his board, which you college football fans will find interesting. To me, it's a trade-off. The hours during the football season are so precious, which is like definitely front of mind for me as like, hey, now it's June, like football season's going to be here before we know it. But the hours during football season are so precious that like, dude, if I really wanted to, I could literally spend 50 hours a week prepping for a game. But just the opportunity cost of like, all right, I can get 98% of my prep in like a 20-hour block. So sure, you could grind it out for like 30 more hours for an extra 2%. But that's kind of the tricks of the trade as I get, further into broadcasting, where it's like, hey, that time's actually better spent making a YouTube video or watching more film on NFL. So then that's a big thing of, so I'm up to speed on what's going on in the NFL world because I'm living in the college football world. It's just, it's truly like running a business, which I feel like most people can appreciate that. Jonathan Lewis, thanks, dude. The rewatch gang, man. That's how you know you're a true OG. Thanks for hanging out. Scott, good to see your name again. Ben Dover, Siobhan, as always, good to see your name. 9 wins for UW this year. Your thoughts on that happening? Let's pull up UW's schedule. UW is definitely one of my sleeper teams this year. In college football, everybody always gets high on the teams that have a returning starting quarterback. Washington is unique in that they have like a quasi-returning starting quarterback in Damon Williams, where anyone that's a Husky fan is fired the F up on Damon Williams. If you're not a Husky fan, you might not even know who I'm talking about. And so Washington flying under the radar. I got a win week 1, a win week 2, a win week 3. I think they win the Apple Cup. Gosh, it's good to see the Apple Cup. I know there's a big pocket of like Northwest folks that always hang on these lives. The Apple Cup is the most nostalgic rivalry football game for me. I love watching the Apple Cup. I think they lose week 4 to Ohio State. Maryland, big year for Maryland. I don't know Maryland's outlook right now. Between Maryland and Rutgers, let's say they stubbed their toe there between one of them. So that's what, 1, 2, 3. They're 4-2 going to Michigan. Is that Michigan home, Michigan away? At Michigan. Ooh, baby. That'll be – I'd rather play Michigan early on in the season than later on in the season because I'd rather get a true freshman quarterback or a inexperienced quarterback early on in the season. So playing Michigan, that's tough. I'll go they lose there. Cool, baby, down the stretch. So then they're 4-3. Illinois, I'm going to say they sneak up on Illinois. They go 5-3. That's a hot take, but hey, upsets happen all the time in college football. That's a home game. Illinois could be rolling right now. Later in the season, circle that game. That game's going to be on under the lights at the greatest setting in college football. I think they win that. So then that's what, 5-3, right? They go Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a super interesting team to me because that could be a make or break game for Luke Fickell. You get into November, Luke Fickell's got to show progress this year. That'll be interesting. They're at Camp Randall. I'm going to say they lose that one. So let's see, that's 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5-4 right there. 6-4 versus Purdue. 7-4 versus UCLA. Oregon, I'm going to say they lose that. Washington, 7-5. I'll say they win their bowl game. Eight games. That's assuming they don't take some huge step. That's a very pessimistic view on the Huskies, I think. But right now, you just heard it. I guess I'll go the under, which contradicts what I said of, hey, they're the sleeper team. But they got to show me something first. I'm a Jed Fish believer, though. Fun fact, Jed Fish will make it into my top 5. I won't go hot takey. He's a top 5 coaches meeting interview when you're calling his game. Jed Fish. Love talking with Jed Fish and his staff. He's a top 5 coach to chop it up with. Funny enough, too, my sister-in-law texted me. They're Huskies. My brother's a Husky, and they're asking me, like, is Washington truly the greatest? How did she say it? She goes, is Washington truly the greatest stadium in college football? Interesting point. And I said, it's widely accepted in college football that Washington is the greatest setting in college football. Nobody pushes back on that. Not even USC, not even SEC folks. And if they do, they're just drinking their own Kool-Aid and they don't know big picture college football. But Washington strategically says setting and not stadium and not atmosphere and not environment, because Washington is not the best stadium, atmosphere, environment. But Washington is the best setting, because that's how you bring in the lake and the ambiance. And then you can overlay crowd noise and the loyalty and, everything that people love about Seahawks fans also kind of applies to Washington fans. But setting is the key word there. USC football is so overrated. Yeah, hey, we get that. TK, what's going on? I was just watching your TikTok. Yeah, Scott, I've never sailgated. That's the one thing. And to be honest, at this rate, I'll be working college football. I only had one season where I was a fan of college football and not working. I went straight into my playing days to being on the media side, but I've never sailgated. All my homies do it. I see the videos. I see you get the early September, or you get the September weather, home games, Washington. Now with global warming, not to go full weather mode on you, but now the good weather in Seattle bleeds into October. You get an extra game of sailgating, clutch for Washington fans. But you get a Washington game, dude, in late November. It's rainy, ugly. Ugh. Travis, what up, man? I saw your DMs today. I was actually driving, which is not good. I don't condone that. But I wasn't able to respond, so I guess I'm not being that bad ball. But I saw you had a couple of questions for me. Fire them in there. Ryan Day's comments on the Big Ten having 4 automatic qualifier spots for the expanded conference. If that ever comes to fruition, what does that mean for the rest of the conferences? I am not a fan of automatic qualifiers. I am not a fan, for one simple reason. We're being prisoners of the moment for what happened this past year. There's going to be years where the SEC deserves 6 teams. There's going to be years where SEC number 5 and SEC number 6 are better than Big Ten number 4. There's going to be years where Big Ten number 5 is better than SEC number 4. And we're just going to have another thing to argue. I'm not a fan of automatic qualifiers. What I am a fan of is let's put pressure on the College Football Playoff Committee to make some tough decisions. And hey, if you're putting in SEC number 5 over Big 12 number 2, that's going to happen some years. And I think we need to chop it up. We need to debate it, and we need to be realistic with the reality is that college football is not a power 4. College football is a power 2. And then you also have 2 other very legitimate conferences in the ACC and the Big 12, which deserve to have a seat at the table. They don't need to have as much representation as the Big Ten and the SEC, but putting in more guardrails, not a fan of that. Not a fan of that, because every year is going to be different. Like literally we debate something new every year. Here's a perfect example. Like last year in the Big Ten, the cutoff from Big Ten number 4, Indiana, to Big Ten number 5, which is what, Illinois, I think it was last year. That was a huge drop off, which made that conversation very clean. That conversation's not going to be clean more years than not. Next year, it could be messy if Illinois and USC and Nebraska are hanging right there. So when you get automatic qualifiers, I don't like that. Force the human element to make those tough decisions. SEC, same way. I don't like automatic qualifiers because then automatic qualifiers work the other way, where then Big 10 or Big 12 and ACC, I don't think the ACC and the Big 12 should get 2 automatic qualifiers every year. If they do, that's a huge win for both those conferences, but I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I don't get what it solves. It gives a structure and everyone wants clarity and all that. I'm supposed to be the young guy in the media world, but I remember the Jason Campbell, Auburn, USC, Texas debate. I remember when people were clamoring for the human element. We want subjectivity. We want the human element. And then now that we have the human element, everyone's pissed because everyone's definition of best and deserving is different. That's the whole point. To me, that's the whole point. Scott asks, is an Arizona type program, if they win the Big 12, will they actually defeat an Ole Miss that finishes lower in the conference? Probably not. I think it depends on the year, Scott. I think it totally depends on the year. Arizona in 2023, the Pac-12 was stacked in 2023, but like Arizona 2023 might make moves. It just totally depends. A Utah in 2023, I'm taking a Utah 2023 over SEC number 5. Fact. Send it. So it just totally depends. Arizona State might be this team, that team this year. What if Sam Leavitt's the best quarterback in college football? Then the optics with Arizona State changes a whole lot. What do I think about Talon Green in year 2 with Petrino? Excited about him, dude. To be honest, I've seen more Talon Green Boise State film than I have Arkansas film. I'm living in ACC country, and I live in Pac-12 country. West Coast, baby. I work in ACC country, East Coast. But I wasn't watching a lot of Arkansas, to be honest. Scott High School, lucky to not catch Kent Lake 2011. Who'd you guys lose to? That's that sounded sarcastic. I'm genuine. I forget who you guys lost to. Nick Saban stories. Dylan Glass Golf asked Nick Saban stories. I've said this story a couple times past couple months on these lives. Signing day, ironically, which was my birthday, my junior year of high school. It was common for my high school football coach to like come into my classroom and kind of head nod to my teacher and say, yo, Max has got to come out of class. There was either a phone call that I needed to take or a coach was in the hallway that I needed to see, kind of thing. And it wasn't like that big of a deal. It was just kind of, hey, everyone knows the deal. But there was one day, first period art class, he storms in there and he's like, man on a mission, like, yo, I need Max now. I need him out of class. Let's go. So sure enough, like I could tell the energy was different, but I'm like, all right, let's do this thing. Coach Taylor seems juiced. He doesn't tell me anything and goes, like, here's the phone. There's someone on the phone for you. And I was like, all right, that sounds kind of cool. Sure enough, he got on the other line. I knew the voice right away. It was Nick Saban. So chatted with him on the phone for the first time. Our art class is right next to our cafeteria. So I was just sitting on a little cafeteria bench, me like by myself as like random kids were walking by, talking with Nick Saban. At the time, Saban wasn't what Saban is now. He was an all-time great college football coach, but he wasn't the best ever. But don't get me wrong, it was still big time. But I say that for like a little bit of context, and that's what they offered me. My birthday, my junior year, I got that Bama offer. Good, it was good. It was a good day. Sports Illustrated in the chat. Is that Claudette? What up? Good to see you. LA hosting the Summer Olympics. Favorite Olympic sport? I saw gymnastics last year in person. I went to the Paris Olympics. Got lucky to sit next to some of the former teammates of the gymnast. It was the male gymnasts that were there was a few guys from Stanford competing in the Olympics, and I was sitting next to their old teammates. So they explained, yo, this guy's got a knee problem from 2 years ago, so sometimes he can get in his head there. Or, yo, this guy from Greece has been whatever this event is, the bars. He's like, yo, he's been doing this for the past 3 Olympics. So I got like the whole commentating and the whole rundown. it was the best experience. I'm biased towards gymnastics. For the USC people on this live, I saw Sarah Hughes in person a couple weeks ago. She represented USA in beach volleyball. They crushed it. I went to school with her. Good to see her. So I love beach volleyball. Under the Eiffel Tower, I also saw that in person. That was big time. What led you to not go into Bama? Dude, when I was in high school, Bama still had the defensive first identity. So like they had not embraced the pro style scheme. So that was one thing. And then just, I don't know, I'm a Northwest guy. Like I didn't drink the SEC Kool-Aid. Going to Tuscaloosa felt super far away. Loved everything about USC. So I naturally went to USC there. From someone who was a 2017 Penn State, Jonathan, great question. Penn State, who was at 2017 Penn State Pitt in Beaver Stadium. That's the game I started. What's the hardest part about being the visiting quarterback at Penn State? Anything that's not talked about enough? I guess my take on this is, one, I'm glad we got him when the sun was up and it was not a night game. But things that people don't talk about enough, I mean, where my head goes right away is, it was the only game in my career where I made a conscious effort to be like, yo, offensive coordinator, get the play call in now. Because when the play call clock starts, Penn State's fans, it may have been different if it was a closer game. I'm not naive to that. But the second you get to like 12 seconds in the play clock, that's where it really, really, really gets loud. So if I could get the play call from our coordinator with like 22 seconds left, say it in the huddle twice before it got down to like 14 seconds, I was chilling. But if that play call came in at 19 seconds left with the play clock, and I had to say it out to the guys with 9 seconds left in the clock, you're good luck, because you can't hear guys. You're screaming, you're yelling. I had to call the play like on a knee, looking up, so guys could read my lips, and you're like literally screaming at guys. Wild atmosphere, but all time, even though we lost and that was not a fun memory. Wild atmosphere. That's one thing people sleep on. The visiting locker room sucks, but it's nothing crazy to write home about. But yeah, that's the one thing that sticks out. And gosh, I remember throwing that interception on the first drive. It's one of 2 throws in my career that I wish I could have had back. Gosh, I don't know why I freaking threw that ball. And then you go straight to the sideline, and we're playing on primetime ABC. You know, the cameras are on your face. And it's a weird out-of-body experience where you throw that interception. You know there's millions of people sitting on your couch. This is just how like my brain's wired. You're sitting there, and I want to absolutely scream and rip my hair out and start mother effing and gosh, and like you're pissed off. I was pissed off at myself. But you know the cameras are on you, so you got to go like stoic and like stay optimistic. That's a weird, trippy experience. How often do they use sniffers in college? Are you talking about the drug? Or are you talking about the packets that they put under your nose? If you're talking about the white substance, I mean, it's college. If you go to a frat row, you might see it. But if you're talking about the sniffer pockets, I would say probably it was the offensive linemen loved doing that. So that's probably, I don't know, it's probably like offensive linemen and linebackers were big on that. So I'd say, I don't know, like 15 guys or so. I don't know if that was a dead serious question or a joke and you're trying to trap me, but I gave you a real answer. So hopefully that did the trick. HR picking stuff. See some comments here from you. Appreciate you. QBs have giant hands. Max, can you palm a football helmet? Let's find out. So weird. I don't have long fingers, but I have long palms. I mean, this is a large helmet, so no, I can't. I can get close, but I can't. I can palm a basketball though. But if I had a small head, like if I had this helmet, all day, baby, all day. Yeah, I get the questions every once in a while. Why do I have 4 helmets back there, and why do I have a Michigan State helmet? So the Michigan State helmet is it's not that my actual high school helmet, but it's the one that it's a replica that my coach gave me. I got the Pac-12 helmet. With every year that goes by, the Pac-12, sorry, TikTok, the Pac-12 helmet will get cooler and cooler. Like imagine this Pac-12 helmet 20 years from now. It's going to be money. It's going to be money. Viewership on YouTube sneaking up there. About to break our monthly record. I guess we're in the new month. But 24 is the concurrent viewer metric to meet. So if you're on YouTube, I think there's a like function. Like this and we can get more people here. Or share it. Jules, as a former equipment manager myself, who was one of your favorite EQ managers? This is a slippery slope because if I forget anyone, they're gonna rip me a new one. Alex D was a good one. Anthony Machado was my boy. Logan was my boy. I still talk to Logan in the DMs. Gosh, those guys hooked it up. John, my bad, bro. I'm blanking on your last name. John was clutch because John brought Tom Brady's mud recipe to USC that then I championed to make happen. Darnold got on board. USC's never looked back. Go back, USC fans. I made a video. It's actually literally my best performing TikTok. It's my best performing YouTube short last year. It has like 2 million views. It's literally my best performing short. It's titled I started the QB mud at USC. Look at balls at USC before 2016 and after 2016. The only common through line there is some Joe Burrow lookalike dude that cooked up the footballs. I'm actually working on a YouTube video remaking the recipe. So I got a buddy who works at the Seahawks, and he sent me their quarterback mud recipe, which is full circle because Darnold's now their starting quarterback. And I'm going to remake it in my kitchen. The supplies, for those of you guys on TikTok, the supplies are right there, and I'll remake it in my oven and whatnot. But equipment managers, game-changing. Those guys would always hook it up for me where one more name, Alex Collins. Jules, Alex Collins, to your answer. He actually was our quarterback manager when I was a true freshman. He's now the general manager for Colorado State. He worked under he's like assistant general manager at Ole Miss, and Colorado State just hired him away. So I called Colorado State's bowl game last year at the Snoop Dogg Bowl, and I met him on the sideline, or like saw him again on the sideline. It was like a cool full circle moment. But quarterback mud, game-changing. Equipment managers, game-changing. When I was a backup quarterback, I always would hang after and make sure there was 2 footballs that I was like, if something happens and I go in, we got to make sure I'm taken care of. Grand Lord Catchin, appreciate you, man. God bless as well. Brody Bowers, what are your thoughts on Rocco Beck, QB, Iowa State? Sorry, did you just ask that question in TikTok too? My bad, I missed that. I think he's solid. I don't really have a take. It's funny. I read his article in the Athletic about his game day routine or whatever. That was an interesting read. I think he's solid. I think you can win a lot of games with him, but he started enough where I don't know if there's enough. There's a huge step left in his future. I got to dive more into his tape, though. Top 3 college choices after high school: 1 USC, 2 Oklahoma, 3 Alabama. What games are you calling next year? Harrison, good question. Hoping to finalize that in the coming weeks. Ask me again in the coming weeks. Stay on me on me with that. What do you think of Coach Rogers at WSU? I'm excited to meet him, man. I feel like he's saying all the right things, doing all the right things. He's got the edginess that I think you need to be the head coach in Pullman in general, but especially nowadays. But I think Jake Dickert was great for Washington State during that time. I know Coug fans hate him, but I think the reason Cougs fans hate him is because they know what they lost in him, because he was a vocal advocate for the school. He was great with words. He wasn't afraid to call people out. He was not going to back down. He was great for Washington State, which I think is why it was so hard for him to go. But I think Coach Rogers, he needs to be – I think you need to be dynamic in front of the mic. You need to have some punch to you. I think that was what Leach had. That's what Dickert had. At first glance, I don't know if he has the personality that Dickert had, which is fine. Everyone's their own person, but I do think you need to kind of carve out your own cause a little bit, given where Washington State's at right now. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers? Is that finalized, or are you just asking in general, Alex? Let me know. I think it makes a ton of sense. I think the best take that I've heard on this, I was watching Tom Pelissero on Rich Eisen, and he basically was like, it's a win-win for both sides because Aaron Rodgers is either going to be an A or an F. Yo, we just hit our record. YouTube, appreciate you. Appreciate you over there on YouTube. We're rocking and rolling. I don't know what I did differently, but that's the most concurrent viewers we've had in a month. So thank you. Thank you. If you're on TikTok, posting a bunch of YouTube long form content, go over there and check it out. But the Aaron Rodgers situation in Pittsburgh, it's going to be an A or an F. It's going to either work out and be great, and they struck something, and the Steelers have a legitimate playoff run, and maybe they can sneak up on a Bills team or a Chiefs team that's like stubbing their toe. But the flip side is there's also a world where it absolutely crashes and burns and completely fails. And if that does happen, well, then that's fine because the Steelers are even with Aaron Rodgers or building to make a quarterback decision in 2026. They struck out this year in their quarterback decisions for the most part. Like there was no exciting rookie they could get after. There was no backdoor free agent they could get on board. There was no, hey, they didn't go out and get Sam Darnold kind of thing where then that's maybe your guy for the next 3 years and we'll see what it is beyond. But the Aaron Rodgers situation is going to be an A or it's going to be an F. And if it's an A, great. If it's an F, sneaky great, because I think you reset and try to get a top quarterback next year. That'll be interesting, though, because Mike Tomlin is a hell of a football coach. He has done his job. He gets you into the playoffs with rosters that a lot of coaches would not get you into the playoffs with. That shouldn't work against you, but it does feel like there's a significant portion of Steelers fan base that wants him out. So that'll be interesting. Cougs for life. Got the follow. I have a feeling I got the follow on the back of that Washington State question and answer, so I appreciate it. Aaron Rodgers just signed with the Steelers. All right, this is breaking news. That's crazy. But to be expected. To be expected. I think it's, gosh, the Steelers are praying, like, thank you that this happened now. Because if this waited a whole nother month or into training camp, that would have been a training camp disaster. Training camp shit show. So now you get all the questions out of the way now. I thought people were being overly critical on Aaron Rodgers for taking his time, because now that it's happened, it doesn't matter. He enjoy your offseason. Make all the decisions. If some random quarterback had torn his ACL on a contender, well, then he slides in there. The media just wanted an answer ASAP. That's why we were pushing Aaron Rodgers to make that happen. But good on Aaron Rodgers for taking his time. And then now it's appropriate. It's all good. You got the full not full offseason, but all the noteworthy offseason stuff ahead of you. ESPN said he's flying in this week and going to camps. Makes sense. He's been training with DK out in LA. The YouTube audience is growing because we're getting notices now. I wasn't before. HR, I'm sorry, dude. My bad. I'll make the rundown. Brody, appreciate you. Alex, appreciate you. Interesting 101. Jonathan Lewis. And there's a lot of locals, man. I recognize some of the names there. What do we got popping on TikTok? Harrison. Harrison wins best questions of the day so far. Harrison, I see you. What do I think is the most QB-friendly system in the NFL? It's funny because I'm coming out with this YouTube video Saturday. I think it's Cliff Kingsbury with Washington. I think they do a bunch of stuff that takes a lot of the processing out of the quarterback. They space guys out. I think their pass game and the way they marry up their run game and their screen game, it just flows. Obviously, they struck gold last year. Not always the case. We saw that last year with the Texans. They struck gold in 2023. Doesn't necessarily happen like that in 2024. CJ Stroud went back in every major statistical category, if I'm not mistaken. And that's football, ultimate team sport. But Cliff Kingsbury would be my answer to that right now. That's a little mini plug. I got a video coming out on Saturday. It might be this afternoon. I got to check. But diving into why quarterbacks in the NFL have a sophomore slump. Why does it happen? Let's look at the facts. Let's look at the statistics. You look at guys like CJ Stroud. Slump might be an exaggeration, but he definitely did not progress the way that we thought he would. But even guys like Mac Jones and Baker Mayfield, like, why does that rookie year happen and then the sophomore slump? Looking at themes, my thoughts, breaking it all down. It'll be a good YouTube video. And then with all those nuggets, how it relates to Jaden's situation right here, right now. Are you surprised that DJU flopped compared to Bryce Young? Yeah, definitely. I will say I've called 2 of DJU's games at Oregon State. that dude's got his head on his shoulders. He's going to be fine. And I commend that because obviously I lived that, right? A 5-star quarterback that didn't live up to expectations. Sometimes it just happens, man. There's all sorts of different reasons why that plays into it. But I commend how he's handled it because people ream on DJU on social media, and that's tough to deal with. What's your season prediction for the Bengals? I'm a casual. Dude, there's no way they start as bad as they did last year. So season prediction is they make the playoffs. I don't think they win the division. The Ravens are that good. And they'll find themselves in the division round. We'll see. Joshua Kang, don't be so down on yourself. You're still amazing. I appreciate that, man. And I don't know how much you engage with my content, but I get pushed back on that comment every single time. I appreciate that. But to me, it's not so much down on myself. To me, it's just kind of like real, right? Like, when you're living that life and it's like your life mission to be an NFL quarterback, and those are the expectations, and it's not just fantasy land. Like, you're a 5-star quarterback. Like, this is the mentality, and you don't even come remotely close to that. To me, it's just not real when you sit there and like guys are all like happy-go-lucky, like, oh man, that was a great college career. It's not that I'm not grateful. It's just that's just not how I'm wired. I think things could have shaken out differently, that I could have had a much better college career. I think the talent was there. I just didn't piece it together. But I think both can be true is the moral of that. I think I can acknowledge that without being Debbie Downer mode. Because, dude, there's guys out there all the time that I see that are like, it makes the hair on the back of my neck crawl when people are like, I'm a former professional football player. And then you dive into their profile and it was like, yo, I played arena football for like 2 seconds. And I'm like, bro, like, I mean, to each their own. That's not how I'm wired. Like, that to me is like you're stretching the truth just for the clout. Like, I don't know. I don't mess with that. On that note, another plug, working on a video right now. I forget what we're titling it, but it's basically about how Arch Manning, I think the football world is sleeping on how significant this upcoming season is for Arch Manning. Like, just the whole stakes of it all. 3rd generation star quarterback playing at Texas. We've been tracking this guy since he was literally an 8th grader. This is the season. People are already projecting him as the number 1 overall pick. Like, sports has not seen a guy like Arch Manning's story before. We've become numb to it because it's just like, oh, of course, another Manning quarterback, and of course he would just work out, and of course he'd have no performance anxiety or no, freshman or sophomore slump or any of that. Like, the stakes of it are wild, but the cool way I'm prefacing this YouTube video is I look at other chosen ones throughout sports, right? LeBron, Kwame Brown, even Austin Rivers. There's a couple soccer players in there. Caitlin Clark. And like, I piece together their trajectory and then like, what's the one lesson Arch could learn from their chosen one trajectory, package into a cool YouTube video that should come out next week. Keep your eye out on that. Amada, I don't know what your comment's referring to. Sorry about that. Steve, there we go. Scott Orway, I never understood why multiple 5-star quarterbacks go to the same school. Why not go elsewhere? Well, we all think that we can, we're the best. We can beat out the other guys. It's a legit question. Nowadays, the elements have changed because oftentimes the 5-star schools have the most money. So if you're getting paid the most money out of high school, that's a legit question. I know for me though, like there's a certain attraction with, hey, if you're a top dog, like you want to play at a blue blood program, and the blue blood programs are often where you win Heisman trophies and compete for national titles. But it is a fair point because one of my pet peeves is when people champion like competition is the best thing ever. I don't like the saying competition makes everyone better, because it doesn't. It makes a lot of people better, but it doesn't make everyone better, to the point of Scott's question, because there's a lot of guys that the competition of a quarterback room, it doesn't help their quarterback career. What would help their quarterback career is go to the school that has to have you play, that is incentivized for you to win, that doesn't have competition. Some guys need that motivation, but there's a lot of guys like I'm not going to call out names, but if they had gone to a blue blood school, we might not know who they are. But they went to an average school or a below average school, broke all the school records, and now they're a legend at that school. Competition would not have made that quarterback better. But it's a fair point. Scott, the one that I always get is if I had gone to Washington State, because that was in-state school. Mike Leach, obviously. Luke Falk had a phenomenal career. So I'm not taking anything away from him, but that would have been a fun offense to play in for sure. So USC used to be stacked for sure. Myron McFarland, what up? Who does more prep work between you and Tom Brenneman? I don't know. I don't know how much prep work Tom does. All I know is we both walk into the booth prepared for sure. Harrison, I don't know if you were on in the beginning of this live, but I was talking about how I had coffee this morning, literally with Yogi Roth, and we were talking about that prep and whatnot. And to me, there becomes a point when you're doing prep work, when you're preparing to call a game, where you reach a point where you've done 95% of the prep work, and you could allocate another 20 hours to get to that 100% full. No, I know this roster like the back of my hand, but to me, the opportunity cost of that is not worth it. We're locked in. I'm prepped. We're ready to go. But I think that 20-hour block to get that extra 5% is better spent watching NFL film, watching all 22 of Arkansas and Taylon Green, like you guys were talking about earlier. So then when I get asked that question, I can give you a legit answer about what I think Arkansas and Taylon Green's doing. So that's how I view, and I've been in it for 6 years now in the media, or like USC. That's a big one. I used to know USC like the back of my hand. Now I got to work for it because I'm spending my hours in ACC country, but I always get USC questions. So it's important to, hey, if I get an extra 2-hour block, let me dive into the all 22. So I can tell you when you ask me why Lincoln Riley is not calling plays great last year, I got an answer for you. Fun teams to rebuild in college football 26 video game. I don't play video games. I get it a lot because it'd be fun to go like play video games and go live with you guys and chop it up. But right now I go Oregon State, Washington State. Bring them back to the promised land, baby. Ooh, Dewanski 21. Love this question. Any thoughts on Aiden Childs, Jonathan Smith out of Michigan State? One of the lines that I liked, I think opening line for Michigan State win total was like 4. I've seen this story before. Jonathan Smith at Oregon State. I'm a believer in him. I think I'd take the over in that. And then Aiden Childs. I have never talked to a head coach that was more excited about a true freshman quarterback than Jonathan Smith with Aiden Childs. That was 2 years ago. Aiden Childs did not have a great year last year, showed flashes, but I'm bullish on Aiden Childs. You get into year 3 as a college football quarterback. Year 3 is always when you make the jump. I'll be keeping an eye out on Aiden Childs, Jonathan Smith. Legs, MC Football. Thanks for joining. What's my handicap? I see the Malbon hat. You know it. My handicap just dropped or rose. My handicap just got worse with the round I played 2 weeks ago. I'm an 11-4. I'm an 11-4. Clean brand of golf, but we're not going scratch. But I can make moves. It was fun. I played 10 days or so ago. I made this post on Instagram. I don't think it made it to TikTok or YouTube. Excuse me. There's 2 types of people in this world. When the group behind you drives the green on a par 4. Are you the first person that goes, what the hell, man? Why you driving into us? What is this? You prick. Wait your turn, all that stuff. That's first person. Second person is the one that tips their cap and says, yo, that's a hell of a golf shot. That's a hell of a drive. That's big time. You drove the green on a par 4 because your boy got a hold of one. Wind behind me. If I hit it right, I can get it like 310. Wind behind me, we're pushing like 340. And got it on the green. And there was 2 older dudes, which like, hey, no judgment, but older dudes are usually the ones that are more grouchy on the golf course. They looked back, literally tipped their cap, walked up to the green and were like, yo, it's a hell of a golf shot. And I was like, you know what? Let's go humanity. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I didn't think I could do it either. I underestimated that I could get the wind behind my back, and I hadn't, or that I had the wind behind my back, and I also like wasn't driving it that well. So yeah. How do you, as an announcer, get special access to the film? Harrison Fuller, great question. Access to film, man, is still something that I'm scratching and clawing for because I did not have it for the first few years when I was breaking down games and as a content creator. It is the black market of the football world. Someone should do a video on it. I could do it, but it'd be a lot of work, and I don't know if people really care. But if you work for a network, they oftentimes pay for an subscription to Exos Thundercloud, and Exos Thundercloud has an agreement. It's the platform that all the actual coaches watch their film on. So then they sell that subscription out so you can have an access through that. That's how I got it last year. But I don't have NFL access. And the guys that do have NFL access, they have some sort of backdoor plug, some sort of old coach, their friends list that then just adds their email address to the group. So, right, if you're a former Bengals player, and I know the Bengals quarterback coach, and he just adds my name, Max Brown, in there, I don't have access to this. I wish. I am trying to get NFL All 22 access, because if I can get NFL All 22 access, my content for next year, it's gonna be way better because I'll be able to buzz through clips better. Now it's too hard. NFL Plus has all 22 footage. It takes too long to watch the game. It's not a good ROI, or it's just hard to carve out the time. But yeah, usually guys have some sort of backdoor plug. So you play it and you still got some homie or some film guy you're friends with, and then they add your username to the list. But low-key, it's controversial because there's like a fair use laws and whatnot. And there's, for a lot of you guys on YouTube, there's a lot of like all X's and O's breakdown guys that, they'll fight that, hey, this should be fair use. You shouldn't be able to, flag my videos and punish me for using that type of footage, which is just kind of interesting. And it was Brett Coleman I saw was getting into it with Exos on X, but he's a big YouTuber. I'm sure a lot of you guys follow his stuff over there. That's whether or not you're giving it to you because you're using it for content. You're right. Well, they're not giving it to me because I'm not paying for it. That's number one. But you're also right. They're worried about the content side. But the reality is there are guys using it for content. JT O'Sullivan, he's the big YouTuber guy, former NFL quarterback. I'm sure he has some backdoor use. Well, that's funny because JT, from my understanding, he's built up his platform so large on YouTube that then now it's a win for the NFL. And so the NFL has then allowed him to use that footage because now he's established, versus for a guy like me, they might not allow that. Hopefully that changes though. Hopefully that changes. Yeah. Dan Casey. Exactly. Dude, I need to reach out to Coach Dan Casey. How he puts out the volume of content he puts out, I don't know. That is remarkable. But one of the best football Instagram followers for sure. Siobhan, appreciate the question. We talked about Aaron Rodgers for like 10 minutes though, so you must have missed that. All good though. TikTok live enforcement, is that a real question? What do you think of the Bellarmine Prep Lions 2013 4A state title? Well, we beat them in 2012. Yes, sir. So I got no thoughts on there. Thoughts on Texas Tech this year with their NIL grabs? My take here is 2 years ago, on paper, before the season, you could see the pathway for Washington being that team. Ton of guys coming back, recruited well, saw it in the portal. Like nationally, if you were not paying attention, you were like, oh, where'd Washington come from? No. We could tell in June 2023 that, hey, there's a world where Washington's playing for a national title 6 months later. Same with last year. On paper, you could tell, yo, Indiana's got something. I know it's Indiana, but they got something. Let's keep an eye out on Indiana because they're bringing a lot of talent in from a school where there's familiarity with their head coach. This year, that team, at least from my vantage point, is Texas Tech. Texas Tech has raided, pun intended, the transfer portal. It feels like they're that team where 3 months from now, if they're right in the thick of CFP conversations, it's like, no shnikes, they did that. Like, also, I'm not afraid to swear, but I had a video, TikTok, you'll like this. I had a video that I posted where I said ASS in the video. It got 700 views. I took it down, bleeped out ASS, and then I got 7,000 views. So now TikTok has me scared when I swear casually. I want to become a sports commentator and I'm in high school and I'm currently not planning to go pro in a sport. How do I break into the industry? Get reps in whatever way you can as soon as you can. That's the beauty of social media is, you can kind of carve out the path that you want to carve out. I'm not saying it's easy to grow on social media. I'm not saying it's easy to get exposure, but it is a great place to get reps, be creative, and at least get at bats. Outside of that, especially in high school and especially in college, if you really want to do this thing, you can work for free and you can go in your high school booth and get one of your buddies, or maybe you don't even do it and you're the voice of the radio stream and it might only get 10 viewers, but you're getting reps. And then not only are you getting reps, this is how what I did. In 2018, I was making YouTube videos in my kitchen with corded headphones, breaking down Pac-12 X's and O's film. It got me some, like radio hits, and some of you guys on YouTube are probably OGers and remember that. But the most important thing it did for me is I was able to package that footage into a reel, a broadcasting reel. 5 minutes, I was able to show that, I'm gritty. I'm trying to make this thing happen. I'm sitting in my kitchen filming content. I'm trying here. I'm working here. I'm showing an effort. And then that allows you, when you go email agents or email networks or email for a summer internship, or, hey, can I have coffee with XYZ Fox executive or ESPN executive? Would you mind grabbing a cup of coffee with me? And you can attach that reel. And also maybe you put some production value around it to show how creative you can be. They are 20 times more likely to take that meeting with you versus the same guy that's sitting there that's saying, hi, I'm Max. I'm interested in getting into broadcasting. I have a 4.0. I took these classes. But you have that reel that can make you stand out and show that you're really doing this thing. That to me is the biggest value add. And then from there, the second you get your foot in the door with whatever that opportunity is, crush that opportunity, obviously, but always be thinking, how can you leverage the first opportunity to get the next? Getting your foot in the door is the hardest thing. And not that you're not staying present, but just, hey, business is a contact sport, man. And it's just like you're taking a course in a video game, or like a path in a video game. What's the right path? What are the right maneuvers that I need? What do I need to equip myself with? For me, I've been able to leverage TikTok a little bit to grow things. I was honestly 2 years late on TikTok. I wish I was 2 years earlier. I think my career would be in a different spot. If I had done what I did in 2022 and 2020, I think I could be in a different spot. But you learn from that. And then now I'm trying to think, hey, where's the puck going? I think there's tons of opportunity for sports creators on YouTube. All the football creators, no one's executing on YouTube. They're taking their radio show or their podcast or whatever it is, and then they're putting that on YouTube, which that works. Don't get me wrong. There's some success for that. But you look at like OG YouTubers, you look at like YouTubers that make channels on the news or make videos on the news, or YouTubers that make history videos, or YouTubers that, make hypothetical videos, right? If the world had done XYZ, they're making a YouTube video. Like they're not taking some outside podcast and putting it on YouTube. I think there's a lot of opportunity there, which is why those of you guys on YouTube, go check out my videos. That's what I'm doing. I'm building a football content specifically for YouTube. And I think there's some opportunity there. Check out Travis's comment. Yeah, whoever asked that question. Anyways, Max, do you have any players that you are excited to watch and play play this year? Sorry, I can't read. I struggle with that. Those of you guys that are on the live, I always suck at talking and reading at the same time, which is funny. Probably means I need to slow down. I'm excited to see Cooper Kupp in Seattle. I'm excited to see John Mateer at Oklahoma. I'm excited to see the step that DJ Lagway and Lenora Sellers make, Florida and South Carolina. Interested to see what Jaden Maeva does, USC's quarterback. Interested to see what Miller Moss does at Louisville. Louisville, keep an eye on Louisville. Keep an eye on Louisville. I've been practicing my pronunciation of that. Who else do I got for you? Ashton Genty with the Raiders is fascinating to me. Yeah, here we go. That's what I'm saying. TikTok live enforcement. What is that username? Thoughts on the 2012 Bellarmine Skyline State Championship, boy? That's where we got it done. That's where we got it done. Got that state championship ring. I got to get that ring from my parents' house. Lord Jimbo, way too early. 12-team college football playoff, dude. I don't got that in my bag, and I don't want to just give you random takes that I don't believe. I can prep for that next time, though. Thoughts on John Mateer being a potential first-round pick? Hey, John Mateer is a baller. I would put John Mateer in the same bucket as their potential to be a first-round pick as who is he on the same par with? He's in that conversation. If John Mateer is a first-round pick in 9 months, I'm not surprised. He's got work to do, but we saw it with Cam Ward. Here's a better way to put it. John Mateer just had a better season at Washington State than Cam Ward did in 2023 at Washington State. Cam Ward went to Miami and became the number 1 overall pick. I think Cam Ward's skill set and structure and all that projects better to the NFL. John Mateer is a little bit more he's a really good athlete for college, but I think some of that athleticism diminishes when he gets to the NFL a little bit. So I think Cam's a better NFL prospect, but in terms of like the season and what they're putting on film, John Mateer's 2024 film is better than Cam Ward's 2023 film. And Cam Ward's the number 1 pick in the NFL draft last year. So that's make of that what you will. Am I going to call any Oregon State Beaver games this year? Hope so. We'll see. I love going back to Reser Stadium. Hope so. Hope so. All right, we're slowing up, and it's almost at the top of the hour. This is a great chat. I appreciate you guys. A lot of the locals: Lord Jimbo, Travis, Scott, Jules, all again, Ben, Siobhan was in there. Names that I recognize, and then TikTok always holding it down as well. Going ham on YouTube long form. If you've been hearing me say that, or this is the first time you're hearing me say that, type Max Brown YouTube. Check out the channel. Content's good there. And yeah, everyone have a good upcoming weekend. I'll see you again at Tuesday at noon. Peace.